Okay, check it out. Countertop, epoxy coated. How's it look? Pretty gosh darn swell. Off camera because I ran out of batteries and had to recharge it, but I cut a hole. That'll be for the cooktop. Took me a while to kind of get it to fit just right because the margin of error is quite tight. That little glass lip around the edge of it is not very thick, but it should make a nice sleek finish when it's done, which is good because not much else about this countertop is very sleek. But since the countertop is looking fantastic, I think I'm going to jump over here, hit this cedar up with some spar varnish. It's a lot cheaper than epoxy, and it also gives a bit more of a tint. So this stuff on the counter needs to be thick, and we're doing epoxy coating, and then I will do a last coat with food grade epoxy. This epoxy that I'm using right now is still the old timers epoxy, which is really, really good. It just hasn't been tested. It's a new product, hasn't been tested for whether it's food safe or not. So I've used it everywhere in this countertop, but that last coat is going to be food grade, just so I can be sure, because although I do mean to use cutting boards most of the time, sometimes I'm lazy, sometimes I cut on the counter, and I do plan on living on this boat for a long time, so I know that if it's not food grade, that will build up in me over the years, and then I will die a gruesome, cancerous, horrible death, and I'd rather not. I'd rather not. That being said, I should probably put a respirator on before I hit the varnish up, so let's get to it. You know how Werther's Originals tastes like really thick, but it also tastes kind of like caramel or whatever it's supposed to taste like other than senior citizens? Well, this stuff smells a lot like Werther's Originals without any of that good stuff, any of that sugar or sweetness. It's just pure petroleum thickness. God damn. It's called spar varnish. Apparently it's almost as old as sailing, and it is freaking thick. So thick. So I'm gonna go and apply a coat of this to all the cedar on the back panels and to the cedar down here on the bench. And hopefully it will also come out thick. And hopefully eventually this petroleum smell will go away, because I'm pretty sure this face mask isn't doing anything to keep it out. It is so thick. Painting aboard a boat that you're living on is a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, it's amazing to like see a fresh new color in a place that you live. And it's a great uplifter and you feel fantastic afterwards and you go, hey, why didn't I do this before? But on the other hand, you get so high. But it's not very pleasant, because like you wake up seeing purple and it's usually just headaches. What is that? Who put all these cuts in here? Oh, stuff is so sensitive. See, that's the other thing. The epoxy would have just filled all of these little nicks and cracks and gouges and cuts. But the spar varnish, it like accentuates. Here, let me show you what I mean. Look at that. That wasn't there 2 seconds ago. Who's like carving satanic symbols into my freaking bench? I didn't do that. Who did that? Just losing my mind. Building a boat. No one wants to see sail. Just a van hobo with a dream. Just a dirty hobo with a dream, buddy. That's all I am. Man, this cedar just soaks this shit up. You thirsty, girl? God damn. Now, the upside to spar varnish is, although it does stink, it kicks a hell of a lot faster than my epoxy does, which at our temperate Pacific Northwest winter has taken about 2 days to fully cure before I can sand it, maybe 3. This stuff, it'll be dry in half an hour, which is nice. Well, it's doing great wonders. It's soaking into this cedar, which is a very porous wood, very lightweight wood, and apparently a very thirsty wood. And it is just soaking up all of my spar varnish here. You can see the wood texture just popping right away. So this is definitely not my last coat. I'm going to be doing maybe at least 1 more, probably 2, maybe even 3 more coats of this spar varnish. But if it cures as fast as it suggests it does, then that won't be too much of a sacrifice in time. But we can get right back onto it. And I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. Oh, when maybe, hopefully, the high will have receded and I'll be back to my normal self. Good night. We got a lot of paint up in the last little while. Woodstove's been doing a really good job of keeping things nice and warm in here so that we can dry all that paint. But now I just want to catch you guys up a little bit on what I've done off camera, because I had a bit of a day off and kind of got some cool stuff done here with the electrical box. So let me show you. So batteries are starting to be actually down in the box. But I need new junction bars. I really don't like those. I made them myself out of some, I think that's bronze plates there. They're not very good. I don't like them. So I'm gonna get something else soon. But what I have done is completely dismantled the electrical cabinet and built a bit of a new one. It's still a bit of a mess, but basically I was running out of surface area up here, and also it was like really disorganized. I had a lot of hard time like mounting a lot of hardware. This one at least had some bolt holes, but like there's this weird bracket I keep finding on the back of my electronics, and I was like, why is that there? What is that? I tried making one custom out of a piece of bronze I had left over, and it was just like really, it wasn't a very good job that I did. So I hit up the Koja browser, did a little research, and found all about DIN rails. And I'm not an IT professional, nor have I ever been an IT professional. So for all of you who work in IT, I'm really sorry for how stupid I am. But like, I've been staring at these things for like a year, and I was like, what is that? And it's DIN rail. And DIN rail is gonna make my life a little bit easier, because a lot of the hardware requires that bracket, and mounting things when you're doing DIY is one of the hardest bits, you know, just like finding the right things that make everything just snug and fit just right. That's very tedious, and it's very tricky when you're doing everything DIY like I am. So the DIN rail hopefully system will help me out a lot, and I've also set up another system here to help me keep things organized and get a little bit more surface area. So the idea here is I've got this rear panel, you see, nice and clean and white, but if you swing it round, it actually has more space back there. So what I'm going to do basically is like all the finicky 12-volt wiring, I'm going to tuck onto the back side of this board. I'm also going to mount like the power converter, like all the small stuff, 12-volt small stuff will hide behind there, and then larger gauge wires that are going to get in the way up here, I will drill holes and snake them out behind this board. So hopefully I'll set everything up once, you know, and then I'll snake it all in, I'll tidy up all the wiring, and then I'll probably almost never open that door unless there is a problem, and then, you know, I can get at it. But the idea is that it's mainly there to help me save space and make that area a lot cleaner. Also, having it painted nice and white, it's going to make a huge difference. So I've also separated, I don't know if you noticed, there's a shelf in the middle. So that shelf is a separation between direct current up top an alternating current down below. The alternating current is just like a big chunky workhorse thing. I mean, I spent a lot of money on that inverter, but it's basically just an inverter and a couple of fuse boxes or breaker boxes. So really, there's not much need to go down there. So I figured I'd tuck it underneath a shelf, put it away. Eventually I'm going to pull it all out, paint it white down there as well. But right now I need the power to run my boat. So I've kind of like just relocated it a little bit and left it be. It's not very crucial to me. However, the DC stuff up top is, so we're going to be wiggling all that stuff around. And also I need to get some lights in there so that I can actually see what I'm doing. That's important too. So today we're going to hit some of that stuff up and also continue work on this side of the boat and continue the painting that I've been doing on this side of the boat, which is just a repeat of what I was doing on the other side of the boat. So it's not really exciting, but I will have a counter soon on both sides, which is very exciting. Probably also put some clothes on.
Sat down on the wall, clapped ungloved hands together. Escudilla, are you well? He looked down at what was left of his legs.
All right, well, there we go. We start and get some light up in there. Looks a lot nicer painted white and clear with some nice cedar slat shelving in the corner that's really airy and light. It allows the fans to really cool that whole space down. So the 12 volt stuff I've laid in, this is just like the basics, pretty much the manual control, switch on, switch off. But parallel to all of these systems, I'm also running a Wi-Fi enabled system using a lot of these. These are Sonoff. They're just basically relays that could be controlled via Wi-Fi or smart home systems. And then I've also got some lights. Those RGB lights are Bluetooth enabled, and I think I have some Wi-Fi enabled ones. I need to figure out which ones work for the system I'm looking to build. But yeah, pretty exciting to at least get the starters in. I'm still missing a lot of components, and I want to a big thank you to you guys on the wish list because you've been sending me most of the components I've needed to build all of this stuff. So big thank you, because that stuff is like, it nickels and dimes this project to death. I mean, the Amazon price there is like the cheapest price I can find for a lot of this equipment. So really stoked. For now, I'm totally happy with just the basics, but I am also very excited about the Wi-Fi control. I just need to get Wi-Fi on the boat first. And so to control all these things, I need a computer right here, and I need a place to mount it right here. This is the onboard boat's computer. It's a bit dated, but given that I'm not doing any hard computing on it, it's absolutely perfect because this is a Panasonic Toughbook. These are actually really, really pricey, but the nice thing about them is they're built to last a Simon style lifestyle. It's right in the name, Toughbook. So what happens is, this one is a convertible one. So you got your laptop like this, and then you twist this around and lock it down. Now, if you're paying attention to orientation, you'll notice that now it's upside down, the monitor. It's not a problem when you're hand holding it. However, it is a problem for this. So I've been working on the door. So this is the outer door for the cabinetry over there. And what I wanted to do was build an insert that the laptop can sit inside. Then I have another piece of wood that like seals it in. You bolt it in, the laptop is there. So you got the back of it in here, and then the screen is facing out towards like the cabin, right? Right, everyone with me? Okay, great, perfect. This is where I screwed up, because now when you take the screen and you flip it round and you close it down so that the screen, the touch screen is on the outside, which was the whole point of having this little control touch screen. it's upside down. Oops. And there's not really like a practical solution for that, because if I turn it the other way, then the keyboard's upside down. So if I ever need to type a lot of stuff on it, I need to take it out of its entire holster. So, hopefully I'm going to try and see if there's like a software solution. Right now I'm running Ubuntu on this laptop. It's going to help me a lot with some of the Wi-Fi stuff I'm doing to run Ubuntu. But it's not a program, not an operating system I'm very familiar with. I've had one laptop before many years ago when I was in university that I ran Ubuntu on, but yeah, Linux is it's more like a distant acquaintance of mine. I'm not very familiar with it, so I'm gonna have to look into it, see if there's an accelerometer built into this thing where I can tell that it's been turned upside down. Don't know. Either way, the monitor drivers that are in there right now are not doing any kind of auto flipping. All right, guys, I'm gonna crash. I've made an absolutely gigantic mess. This episode is stretched over the course of like 4 or 5 days, so all the lacquering I've done, all the epoxy work I've done, it's all dried and it's all nice. But then, you know, I work on some electronic stuff and I just throw all my toys everywhere looking for little things, and I make a huge mess, and I'm not a very tidy person. So tomorrow morning I'll get up here and I'll sort it out. But for tonight, I ain't doing it. I want to say big thank you to you guys for watching. Big thank you to everyone on the Patreon basically funding this entire project. You guys are awesome. And I also want to thank those of you who've been hitting up the wish list and sending me all these little fun little toys for me to wire into my boat. It's like Christmas every time I get one of those. It makes me so happy. All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.